Good evening, everybody. A call to order the Grosio Township Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for June 24th, 2025. I would like everybody to please stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. The first item on the agenda is whether there are any additions or deletions to the agenda for this evening. Does anyone have any on the board? Seeing none, does anybody have any deletions or additions in the gallery which they wish to address? Hearing none, the next meeting on tonight, or item on tonight's agenda, is any public comment, and we have an indication that we limit the public comment before proceeding with the agenda to 3 minutes. Does anybody in the gallery have a public comment they wish to make to the board this evening before we proceed?
I will.
Okay.
Separate thing. I can go now.
I will find out. I was going to say,
Once you get to the appeal, then?
Dr. Lutsic, you're the appellant. Is it something in addition to tonight's agenda? Okay, thank you. We'll get to that, and I appreciate that question. Hearing none, that we don't have any public comments, the next item on tonight's agenda is the approval of the March 25th, 2025 meeting minutes of the Zoning Board. Members of the board, are there any changes or corrections needed to the agenda, the meeting minutes from March 25th?
No. Motion to approve.
Support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The meeting minutes from March 25th, 2025 have therefore been approved. The first and only appeal on tonight's agenda is appeal number 25-002, and reading from the agenda, it's Dr. Margaret Lutsic of 2279 West River Road is requesting an appeal of the Planning Commission's decision on a site plan approval for a golf cart barn at the West Shore Golf and Country Club located at 22843 West River Road. Dr. Lutsic, this is your appeal. We would appreciate you coming up, obviously, and giving us again your name and address.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Dr. Margaret Lutsic, and I am the appellant in this matter. The appeal challenges the April 7th, 2025 approval of the West Shore site plan based on multiple violations of the Grosio Township zoning ordinance and other governing legal standards. These include the absence of required variances, permits, failure to conduct mandatory procedures, unlawful land use expansions, and noncompliance with safety, drainage, accessibility, and screening provisions. Each ground for appeal stands independently and is supported by the record. The complete legal and factual basis is set forth in the memorandum prepared by counsel and dated May 5th, 2025, which has been entered into the record.
Dr. Lutsic, if I could interrupt you there. So just for the record, you identified yourself, and is it okay if I use just your last name, Dr. Lutsic?
That's fine.
Okay. And your memorandum that you just referred to has been given, and as part of the public record, it is a, it appears to be a 12-page document.
Sure.
Is that the
Yes, sir.
memorandum that you are referring to this evening?
Yes.
Okay, so before you proceed any further, we have a standing issue that we, as the zoning board, must address first that you may not be aware of, and I want to advise you of it and ask you about the 3 factors that must be met in order for you as the appellant to have standing to challenge or appeal the decision for the special land use, as well as whether the township department's approval was minor or significant. So there are three factors that you have to address first before what's in your memorandum that gives you standing to be here as the appellant.
Well, I have issue-specific statements.
No, I'm gonna tell you what the three factors are.
Okay.
Because before we can get to addressing your appeal, you first have to establish that you have standing to be here and be the appellant. And our Michigan Supreme Court has set forth three factors that you first must meet
Okay.
before we, as the zoning board, can address your appeal. So procedurally, I would like to tell you what those factors are, and I will go over each one individually and ask you about each one individually.
Okay.
Also, we as the zoning board have up to 120 days to decide whether you have standing, number one, the three factors, and then if you do have standing, whether you meet the requirements or the standards for addressing the appeal, okay? So I didn't want you to go through your whole memorandum and then for us to come back and say, well, now we need to first address whether you have standing.
Okay.
So the first requirement for standing is that you must have participated in the challenged proceedings. That means you must have participated in the Planning Commission addressing the West Shore's request for this barn, golf cart barn. From your memorandum, it appears that you did participate in that process. Can you confirm that you participated in the West Shore Golf and Country's request for that building permit?
I did.
Okay, it's not nobody came out and said it. I just want to make sure procedurally.
Yes.
So the first factor
I've been here, this is my third time here,
okay,
trying to defend myself.
So you've participated in the decision to grant the Westfield Country Club, West Shore Country Club's decision for the barn. So you've met the first prong for being an appellant with standing. I just want to make sure we're
Okay.
correct on it. The second requirement is that you must claim a legally protected interest or protected personal, pecuniary, or property right that is likely to be affected by the challenged decision. Now, I read your entire memorandum, and you may not have addressed that factor to establish that you have standing here. And from your expression on your face, I
I'm the next door neighbor.
No, but I anticipate for the record
Yes.
that you have not addressed whether you have some legally protected interest or personal property, pecuniary or property right that is likely to be affected by challenging this decision. If it's nothing stated in your memorandum that addresses that, do you have anything to add tonight for us to decide if you've met the second standard for
If I'm understanding you correctly, I'm at 22799 West River Road. I've presented myself twice here. There has been multiple violations and ordinances. I've maintained the property for 20 years that they are proposing to put that on there. That's a whole nother discussion that I don't really care to get into. But I've cared for that property and put fertilizer and cut the grass for 20 years.
Okay,
So I've cut someone else's lawn and fertilized it for 20 years.
all right, but just.
So do I have an interest in this? Yeah, as a next door neighbor and how the consequences affect me, absolutely. And if I'm not explaining myself properly.
Okay, so what you've told us as the board this evening, that is your position or your things or items that you have met the second factor, which is.
Yes, I have met the second factor.
Okay, we got to let each other
Okay.
so the record is clear.
Okay.
So we have, so you're comfortable that you have provided us just now with what your legally protected interest or protected personal, pecuniary, or property right that is likely to be affected by challenging this decision. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you need additional time, because we do have up to 120 days, to provide the board, the zoning board and township, any additional materials, evidence, data, records, or anything for the second factor, which again is a legally protected interest or protected personal, pecuniary, or property right that is likely to be affected by challenging the decision? Do you need more time?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So moving on to the third factor. The third factor is you must provide some evidence to establish standing that you have special damages arising from the challenged decision in the form of actual or likely injury to or burden on their asserted interest or right that is different in kind or more significant in degree than the effects on others in the local community. And if you need me to reread that third factor, I will reread it to you. Do you need me to restate what you must establish?
No.
Okay. So as far as the third factor, what is it that you are providing tonight that you have evidence of special damages arising from this challenge decision of an actual or likely injury or burden on your asserted interest or right that is different in kind or more significant in degree than others in the local community? What is that?
If you're telling me to spell out something additional, it is, it's what other people experience around Groseal: flooding, noise, intrusion. There's multiple items that were pointed out in my memorandum.
Other than what you've just
That's-
told? I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Just the specific things that have been noted in the memorandum.
Okay, so as to what you've just told us and what is in your memorandum, you are relying on to meet the third factor to establish that you have standing to bring this appeal, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and procedurally, just so you know, we have up to 120 days to make a decision. We also have up to 120 days to decide whether we think you have met the three factor standards before we get to the decision process.
Okay.
Do you have anything else that you would want to add to this record or provide to the township to establish you meet the three factors required for standing?
Am I going to be speaking at all?
Well,
I was
first,
gonna
we're going
review
to,
those.
I don't mean to cut you off, my apologies. First, we are going to take a vote on whether the board,
Okay.
we're going to discuss it first, and then we're going to take a vote on whether you have met the three factors required to have standing, or whether we need additional information or materials. First, so you are not, before we get to your memo, first we got to address standing. Okay? So it's a procedural issue first. So you have nothing more that you want to add to us on the three-factor test first?
Nothing new that was in the memorandum.
Okay, all right. That being said, members of the board, any discussion or any questions or concerns about the three factors required in order for Dr. Lutsic to have standing to bring this appeal? I'll go from my left to my right. I'm sorry. Ms. Jacqueline Davis, do you have any concerns or questions on the first, second, or third factors for standing for Dr. Lutsic? Kyle DeBossette, do you have any questions about the first, second, or third standards?
I do not at this time.
Mr. Mills, do you have any questions?
Sir, I do, and I'm ultimately going to ask for more information, but we'll get to that point. But I think it's questionable on the second. I understand that you've been maintaining the lawn. I understand that. And that's a whole other issue, like you said. But I don't believe that alone, the fertilizing and cutting. Sorry, thank you. I don't believe that alone 100% satisfies us. And how do I put, I don't want to see you put yourself in a position where you shouldn't be going forward. That's all I'm saying at this point. I think it's questionable, okay, the second standard. That's just my thought.
It's a minuscule thing. My whole thing, it's the properties coming up to the property and will cause some ordinance violations,
Okay.
noise, flooding, different things that had to get done. I don't mind. I'm not berating anybody that I've taken care of that property. It's okay.
That's not what.
It's not, I don't really care. That's the point is of what's going to happen if this structure occurs to the property. So it's all the ordinance violations and all the subsequent problems that's in my memorandum, which aligns with your second thought. That's a moot point with the grass. I'm just telling you I've taken care of it. It doesn't matter to me. I've done it, but it's going to impact the home, the land, the flooding, the noise. It's in the memorandum, all the different consequences that could occur with that structure. And I feel that I've met those 3 criteria that you're asking, so it gives me a chance to, again, repeat 15 bullet points that it's affecting 22799 West River Road.
I'm all set, thank you.
I have nothing to add to whether the appellant has met the 3 factors required for standing. Mr. Kennedy, do you have any questions or concerns about the first, second, or third factor?
Yes, I do. I feel in a certain respect that we've kind of put Dr. Lutsic on the spot here. These 3 criteria were new to me until I got this packet and reviewed it. I don't believe
I was
the
never told
appellant
this.
was privileged to this prior to this meeting, and I think it's only fair to emphasize to the appellant that you can say, I need additional time to review this thoroughly, and you have the option to request more time as well as we do. So
I would like the copy of those 3 points, because no one ever told me that. I was told just now.
That's all I have to say.
I was
That's
told to
my
present
comment.
my points, explain myself, and the ZBA makes the decision.
Right.
I don't know anything about the 3 things that you're talking about right now.
Well,
0.
I understand Member Kennedy's concerns to you, but,
I appreciate that.
okay, as well. Anything else, Mr. Kennedy?
No, nothing
All right.
further.
Laron Polk, do you have any questions or concerns about the 3 criteria or factors of whether or not Dr. Lutsic has standing to bring this appeal?
I guess that would be my same concern, is to making sure that the appellant has the ability to do her due diligence as well as us. So just making sure she get the information in due time.
Anything additional, Ms. Polk?
No.
And then Richard Hopper, finally, do you have any questions or concerns or interest or about whether Dr. Lutsic has met the 3 factors required to have standing here before us this evening?
Nothing that hasn't already been mentioned.
With that, Dr. Lutsic, this is how we're going to proceed. You can request the additional 120 days' time if you feel that you need to address the 3 factors. If you're comfortable with what you've already presented to us and you don't feel you need the additional 120 days, we are going to ask for a motion on whether you've met the 3 factors or whether we as the board need more information before we get to your actual appeal. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay,
And I want the additional time, and I want the copy of the 3 things I need to do, and I'll present at a different date that you tell me to.
And with that, that's why I wanted to give you the option that you could ask for this to be adjourned. We must make our decision within 120 days, so we first must address 3 factors
Yes,
and
sir.
vote on whether you have standing, and depending on that vote, if it is a yes, we will then proceed to address the appeals.
Okay.
Do you understand that?
Who's going to give me a copy of that, and what day do you want me to come back?
Well, I don't believe we have the staff here today to give you the next meeting date, because not that anyone's schedule is more
I
important.
wasted everyone's time today.
No.
Because I never got that.
No, you have not.
I feel bad.
This is, you don't, I wouldn't feel bad. This is what we agreed to do. This is straightforward. This is not an ordinary zoning board appeal.
Okay.
You are not the aggrieved party that didn't get the building permit. That's the normal appeal we see.
Okay.
Your appeal is different, and because you have to meet these three factors first, we want to give you that option for 120 days. As for when the next meeting will be, that will depend on when the township staff schedules it, because all of us have to agree to appear.
Okay.
And we would let you know. And as for the three factors, I would believe that the township would provide you with it. I can tell you the Michigan Supreme Court case that has those three factors, if you'd like to read their very
Sure.
lengthy ruling.
Okay.
And I can give that to you. I'll write it on a piece of paper if you don't mind, and hand it to you after the meeting.
Okay.
So you're okay with requesting the more
Yes, sir.
time to address those factors?
Yes, sir.
That being said, based on Dr. Lustig's request for additional time, can I have a motion from somebody on the board to address that request?
I would like to make a motion to request additional time for the applicant to give us the information required for standing.
Second.
A second.
All that being said, can we have a roll call? Ms. Davies?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye as well?
Aye.
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 Okay, so thank you very much. Your appeal's basically on hold until we provide you with that and you give us the additional information. Is that
Okay.
fair?
Yeah,
All right.
sooner the better. All right,
I
thank
agree.
you.
I agree. The next item we have on the agenda, which would have been more appropriate had the appellant proceeded and we addressed the appeal, would be public comments. However, being that the appellant asked for 120 more days, I would like to ask if anybody in the gallery has any public comment on what we've done so far, or anything else in the matter. Hearing none, there's no public comments. The last item on tonight's agenda is a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hearing all ayes, no nays, the Roseal Township Board of Zoning meeting as of June 24th, 2025 is adjourned.